Hello, 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 my little maniacs. This is your host, the Maniacs Gaming. Come back at you with another video. In today's video, we're going to be previewing the Buccaneers versus Ravens game for Monday Night Football. Let's get it. Alright, so for game details, it's very simple. The time, 8:15 p.m. is kickoff. The location is obviously Tampa Bay, Florida, because the Bucs are at home. Important information for this game is the following. Injuries. Jamel Dean was placed on IR today, as well as Cameron Johnson for Tampa Bay. Payne Durham and Raheem Jarrett, are both ruled out. Jarrett is working on his return from the IR with his 21-day practice period. And Ernest Brown was activated off the IR officially and promoted to the active roster as a counter move to Jamel Dean and Cameron Johnson being placed on IR. As for the Ravens side, Deontay Hardy headed to the IR with an injury. And then Rasheen Ali, Broderick Washington, and Malik Harrison are all either out, or in the case of Broderick Washington, he is doubtful to play tonight. So last week review for the Buccaneers. The Bucs beat the Saints in a 50-burger fashion, with the final score being a 51-27, in which the offense absolutely exploded, with Baker Mayfield throwing 4 touchdowns, with an actual run game that got 2 touchdowns, and as well as the defense absolutely dominating too, getting a couple picks in there, a couple forced fumbles, one of which was returned by Antoine Winfield Jr. for 6 points. First defensive touchdown in a hot minute for the Bucs. As for the Ravens, they beat the Commanders last week, 30-23, in an absolute thriller game, where the Ravens offense showed why they are just that dangerous and why they picked up Derrick Henry in the offseason to bolster their run game. As for their defense, it looked a little shaky, but again, it's looked a little bit worse than other weeks, so they're a little bit bounced back. They're hoping to keep that bounce back going. As for the biggest question marks for the Buccaneers, I've got it simply the O-line, the run game, and the D-line. Ravens defense is absolutely catastrophic against the run, so the Bucs are going to need a good O-line play here today in order to establish that run game with Rachaad White, Bucky Irvin, as well as Sean Tucker, who's expected to get some carries. Now, why is the run game a big question mark where they did so well last week? Well, for the simple fact of Rachaad White obviously coming back from injury, and then Sean Tucker and Bucky Irvin are all expected to get carries. So I'm very curious about how the Buccaneers are going to go with the 3 running back approach. They keep saying they're going to go with the hot hand, but I'm honestly very curious about how that's actually going to work in the game itself. Let's see how that works. And then the D-line is going to be a major factor, especially Vita Vea, who is going to be playing, even though he was ruled questionable with the hamstring. The Bucs just kept him out of practice on Friday out of just precaution to keep him healthy for the game. But the Bucs are going to need him to show up big in order to slow down the Derrick Henry-led rushing attack from the Ravens, especially Lamar Jackson as well. As for the Ravens, I think the biggest question marks for them are going to be their secondary, because again, got to slow down Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Godwin obviously being a top receiver in the league in terms of yards, especially after the catch. And then obviously another big question mark for them is going to be passing and seeing how they can air out the football against this Bucs defense that has Antoine Winfield Jr. back after another week fully healthy. Jordan Whitehead, and Zion McCollum, who's going to be stepping in as corner 1, where he's outplayed Dean last week, with Dean headed to IR. And the Ravens O-line, which has been a little leaky the past couple weeks, is going to need to step up, be able to contain Vita Vea, as well as Yaya Diaby for the Bucs, as well as Kalijah Kancey. As for the keys to the game, for the Bucs, I've got simply offense. They're going to need to be able to control the time of possession. They're going to need to be able to control the short game. They're going to need to be able to just get down the field and get points and just control the clock and take the ball out of the Ravens' offense hands, especially when they've got a prolific run game that's led by Derrick Henry that's bound to chew up major amounts of the clock. Another key part of the game for the Bucs is going to be that D-line, just being able to stop Derrick Henry, make him, instead of getting the first and long situations, to second and short, third and short, got to be able to contain him to only picking up 1 or 2 yards, or preferably tackle him in the backfield for complete losses. And then the wide receivers, obviously, Mike and Godwin are going to be there, but we're going to need the other guys to step up. Trey Palmer, who was inactive last week. Shep, who's been a great pickup ever since we signed him to the practice squad. And then, obviously, Jalen McMillan, who had a rough game last week, only being targeted 1 time and result in a turnover. I expect him to get involved early as well. As for the Ravens side of things, I think a big key to this game for them is going to be their defense. Just being able to slow down the Bucs offense that put up 50 points last week and has always been a volatile unit. The Bucs can obviously put up points when they want to, so the Ravens are going to have to use their defense wisely to be able to slow down the Bucs offense in order to control the game in their favor. They also going to want to control the short game, battle of the trenches, especially when you got a back such as Derrick Henry. You want to be going from a 2nd and 8 situation, 2nd and 7, to just a 3rd and short where you can just hand it off to Derrick Henry and allow him to just pick up the first down easily. And then obviously a big key to the game is going to be Derrick Henry. Obviously just being able to set the pace with the run game, controlling the time of possession, just being able to do all that is going to be a big key to Baltimore being able to win this game against the Buccaneers. As for players to watch for the Buccaneers, I have it simply being Mike Evans, Vita Vea, and the running back room as a whole. Mike Evans obviously looking for a bounce-back game after being a little quiet the last couple weeks. He's going to look for a big bounce-back game here against the Ravens. Hopefully with the leaky-ish secondary that the Ravens got, they could put up some decent amount of points. As for Vita Vea, obviously he's going to be one of the main men responsible for slowing down Derrick Henry and being able to stop him and keep him from being able to take over this game with his legs. Also, I want to apologize about the fact that it says Saints down there. That is a complete error on my part. I did not realize that when I was pre-checking. I apologize. I'm trying to rush this video a little bit due to the fact that I go on vacation literally tomorrow. So all these videos are being a little bit rushed today. And the running back room for the Bucs obviously is going to be obviously this players to watch, but this is just going to be a big question mark for them, as well as just players to watch as a whole. Just see who's going to be considered the hot hand, who's going to get the majority of the carries. Is it going to be Rachaad White, who's been RB1 the whole year? Is it going to be Sean Tucker that picked up last week some of the slack from Rachaad? Or is it going to be even Bucky Irvin, who's been the RB2? Is he going to take over more as the RB1 role? We're going to have to see. As for the Ravens side of it, they're going to be leaning a lot on Derrick Henry, Lamar, and Zay for this game, I believe. Derrick Henry obviously going to be able to get the quick passes, the quick runs out of the backfield. Lamar obviously just being able to pass the ball, run it with his legs, and just hand off to Derrick Henry and fool him with the play action, because Baltimore has one of the best play actions in the league, and Tampa Bay really struggles against play action. As for Zay, obviously he's going to be a lot responsible for the wide receiver screens, the slants, just the quick passes that the Ravens are going to be trying to make on 3rd and down when they're not going to want to lean on the run game so much. So I think Zay is going to have a big role just trying to be able to control that line. Anyway, so streams, this is usually where I talk about streams, but due to the fact I'm going on vacation, there's no streams going on really for next week. There'll be a couple shorts coming out and stuff like that, but other than that, there won't be a whole lot going on my end. But anyway, guys, that is going to do it for me today. I will be streaming the Ravens-Bucs game tonight around 8:15, so be looking forward to that. But anyway, guys, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on that noti bell. On the road to 2,000 subscribers, trying to hit that by the end of the year, trying to hit 1,600 by the end of the month. Let's get it, fam, and as always, I will see all you guys later. Stay crazy, fam.